Americans trust their banks. We believe these institutions exist to protect money, not to quietly move billions for criminal networks or profit from human suffering. But on March 18, 2025, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that trust was shattered. What authorities allegedly uncovered wasn't just a crime, it was a systemic failure hiding in plain sight. $2.7 billion laundered, 847 human beings trafficked, and a 4-mile underground tunnel network built beneath a major American city. This story isn't just about criminals. It's about how power, legitimacy, and weak oversight can turn trusted institutions into weapons. At 6:02 a.m., FBI agents arrived at North Star Community Bank, a modest building known for serving Minneapolis's Somali immigrant community. Inside was Hassan Abdullahi Osman, the bank's former regional director, a respected banker, philanthropist, and financial reform advisor with deep political connections. To the public, he was a pillar of the community. To investigators, he had become the center of the largest human trafficking and money laundering operation in Midwest history. When agents entered the bank vault, they didn't find stacks of cash. Instead, they found something far more disturbing: a hidden control panel. The vault's back wall slid open, revealing an elevator shaft descending 40 feet underground. What waited below was an engineered concrete tunnel system, reinforced walls, ventilation, industrial lighting, connecting banks, warehouses, and residential safe houses across the city, an underground highway built not for infrastructure, but for secrecy. 200 feet down one corridor, agents breached a steel door. Inside, they found 23 people, mostly women and girls ages 16 to 34, chained to the walls. Human trafficking victims hidden beneath a functioning community bank. On a desk nearby were ledgers labeled cargo manifests, but the cargo wasn't goods, it was people. One entry read, 14 females ages 16 to 28, route Mogadishu to Mexico to Minneapolis. Cost per person, $4,000. Sale price, $35,000. Human beings reduced to inventory. Hassan Osman wasn't an underground kingpin living in the shadows. He had 16 years in banking, served on financial advisory panels, and was even named Minnesotan of the Year in 2022. But investigators allege that for 9 years, he coordinated a cross-border trafficking empire that smuggled women and children through cartel routes, laundered money through 47 community banks across 12 states, and hid everything behind the image of legitimate immigrant services. The investigation began quietly in January 2024, when Jennifer Park, a Minneapolis social worker, was contacted by a 19-year-old Somali woman who had escaped from forced domestic labor. She said she was promised education and a job in America. Instead, her passport was taken, she was locked in a house and forced to work without pay. Her sponsorship paperwork, she said, had been arranged through North Star Community Bank. That tip triggered a 14-month investigation. FBI agents reviewed banking records from 2016 to 2025 and identified $2.7 billion in suspicious transfers moving through small community banks. Deposits structured to avoid detection, routed through shell companies in East Africa, Mexico, and the Middle East, then sent onward to cartel-linked assets overseas. Surveillance revealed something even stranger. Hassan Osman would enter the bank late at night and emerge blocks away near warehouses. Ground-penetrating radar later confirmed the existence of a 4.2-mile tunnel system beneath Minneapolis, allegedly built during the COVID years when construction oversight was minimal. Wiretaps captured discussions of shipments, routes, and payments. According to investigators, this wasn't just human trafficking. It was a fully integrated financial and logistics operation working in coordination with Mexican cartels. Humans and money were moved the same way, quietly, efficiently, and underground. On March 18, 2025, federal authorities moved in. Simultaneous raids were launched across 12 states. Banks, warehouses, and 89 safe houses were breached. 291 victims were recovered. 214 people were arrested. Nearly $400 million in assets were seized, but 556 victims were still missing. During interrogation, Hassan reportedly remained calm. He described himself as a banker. "I move money," he said. "I facilitate transfers." But investigators saw something else, a criminal enterprise that weaponized legal systems, community trust, and political legitimacy to operate undetected for nearly a decade. The case exposed deep vulnerabilities. Small community banks faced limited federal oversight. Visa sponsorship programs relied on self-certification with little follow-up. Red flags were missed or ignored. Credentials became shields. Questions were delayed. And during that delay, more people were trafficked. In response, lawmakers proposed sweeping reforms: real-time transaction monitoring for all banks regardless of size, mandatory verification of visa sponsors, enhanced whistleblower protections, and criminal liability for executives who ignore trafficking indicators. But for hundreds of victims, those changes came too late. This story isn't about one man, one bank, or one community. It's about what happens when trust replaces accountability, when institutions assume legitimacy means safety, when no one asks hard questions. If someone demands large fees for visas or jobs, confiscates passports for safekeeping, or ties migration to debt repayment, those are red flags. Trafficking rarely looks like chains at first. It often looks like paperwork.